Hello there, a very good morning and welcome to another edition of the Talk of the Town. Joining us this morning is Bram Nicholas. He's an economist. A very good morning, Bram, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on here.
Bram, Sri Lanka is looking at domestic debt optimization. We are looking at getting our house in order. We are looking at reprofiling some of Sri Lanka's domestic debt and then moving on to reprofiling Sri Lanka's international debt. A lot of these are done to meet certain standards and certain benchmarks set by the IMF. But in the long run, do you think this alone is enough to bring Sri Lanka out of the crisis that it is in right now?
I actually don't think that at all. And this is the concern I have is with all these discussions around DDR and bringing the budget deficit under control, what exact tax rate you should have to bring that under control and going forward. Something very important is missed. And, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen this guy. He's a Dutch historian called Rutger Bregman. Sorry for the name, it's one of these impossible Dutch names to pronounce. But anyway, he was at the World Economic Forum. It was his first time there. He decided to do something very interesting. Is at one of the panel discussions he was on, he just starts blurting out the truth. That was that he said, I find it very strange. I'm at this World Economic Forum meeting in Davos, and everyone is talking about how to be more inclusive, how to get more transparency, and all this talk of philanthropy, while no one is mentioning the one obvious thing, is if you want more equality, tax the rich. And of course, that's the most unpopular thing to say at such an event, but the point he was making, and he even makes this analogy, he says, it's like I'm at a firefighters convention, and I'm not allowed to talk about water. And so why I bring this up is because we're talking about all these things except for the one thing that matters, which is what has brought every developing country out of the mess that Sri Lanka currently is in for good, and got it onto a path of rapid economic growth where there is a rise of living standards, and you don't get these repetitive balance of payments crises and debt crises. And that is export-oriented industrialization. And no one is talking about it, except we are hearing it more and more from the policymakers, but they are referring to it as something that will naturally occur if you liberalize the economy. So you liberalize trade, you get the government out of everything in the economy, and magically just the competitive environment will be created, and we're going to see industrialization. While that is not what we've seen in the successful countries, not even in the advanced countries, because as you can see now, they are fighting it out heavily in, for instance, the semiconductor industry. So, the US is forking out tens of billions of dollars to support its companies. And the Europeans have responded with similar subsidies in the tens of billions. And so where is this idea that the free market mechanism is what is best for everyone and that is how the world works? It's not there. Think carefully, what is the strategy that has made developing countries successful? And then go one step further and say, what are the policies they adopted that got them to where they are? And I don't see how in any way they adopted the types of policies that are now put in place, or any way that are talked about for achieving growth and sustainability in terms of debt and the balance of payments, which is supposedly this idea of liberalization, free market mechanism. And that is the point I would like to make.
Thank you very much, Bram. That's it from the Talk of the Town for today. It's back to the Morning Fix on Yes 101.